My girlfriend and her daughter mocked my grief by destroying my dog's ashes, tried to make me look crazy to the police and community, but I collected proof and took down their lies piece by piece. I went to my bedroom Tuesday night to talk to my dog, Bruno's ashes, like I do every evening when work stress gets too heavy. The simple wooden urn that usually sits on my dresser was completely empty, not even a speck of ash remaining inside. I found it with the lid off to the side. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the empty container, and the only thing that kept me from collapsing was feeling the tiny bit of Bruno's ashes still safe in the locket around my neck. This nightmare started 6 months ago when I fell for Christina, who was drowning financially as a single mom, and I stupidly thought I could save them both, so I let both her and her daughter move in. Her daughter went by the name Raven, and was obsessed with this witchcraft spiritual stuff she learned from TikTok. I bent over backwards trying to win her over. I drove her to crystal shops hours away, dropped $40 on tarot cards, sat through endless lectures about sage and moon phases. I was so desperate for her approval, I ignored every red flag. Bruno died 18 months ago, after 10 years as my constant companion, and I kept most of his ashes in that urn. Talking to his ashes became my lifeline when anxiety hit. Raven always made disgusted faces when she caught me doing it, muttering about getting therapy instead of talking to dead animals. Christina would laugh it off like it was harmless teenage sass. Everything exploded 3 weeks ago when Raven demanded $280 for some spiritual retreat bullpoop for her birthday. I offered $100, but refused to drop nearly $300 on someone I'd known for 6 months. That's when Raven showed her true colors, screaming that I was a pathetic loser who lived alone with a dead dog. She said maybe if I wasn't so obsessed with dog ashes, I'd have money for people who actually mattered to this family. Christina immediately attacked me for upsetting precious Raven, claiming I was overreacting to her daughter just expressing hurt feelings. The house turned into a battlefield, with both of them treating me like the villain for having basic boundaries. For 3 days, they gave me the silent treatment, while I questioned my entire relationship. Then Tuesday, I came home to find them huddled together on the couch, whispering and giggling. They went dead silent the second I walked through the door, sharing this guilty look that made my stomach drop. That evening, I went to my room for my usual Bruno talk and discovered the horror. The urn was bone dry, completely violated. My chest felt like it was caving in as I stumbled downstairs demanding answers about where Bruno was. Christina kept deflecting with obvious lies, asking if maybe I'd moved the ashes and forgotten. Her eyes kept darting toward Raven's room upstairs like a guilty accomplice. She finally confessed that Raven had stolen the ashes for some twisted cleansing ritual, designed to force me to move on. The ritual happened at the local park where Raven and her little witch friends scattered my best friend into the creek water to release his spirit back to nature. Christina genuinely believed this violation was an act of love. I was clutching my locket knowing it contained the last trace of Bruno in existence when Raven strolled downstairs. She saw the empty urn sitting on the kitchen counter and got this satisfied smirk across her face. She casually mentioned how she thought I'd be grateful now that I could finally stop living in the past and focus on living things. That's when I completely lost it. I said she was a calculating little psychopath who had just destroyed the most sacred thing in my life. Raven's smirk grew wider as she shrugged and said Bruno had been dead for over a year, and normal people move on instead of hoarding animal remains like some kind of freak. Christina rushed to defend her precious daughter, ordering me to stop name-calling because Raven was only trying to help me heal from unhealthy grief. Something inside me went ice cold as I stared at these two monsters. I pulled out my phone and explained that theft and desecration of remains was a serious felony, and they were about to learn what real consequences felt like. I dialed 911 with steady fingers while Christina and Raven watched from across the kitchen. The operator answered on the second ring, and I kept my voice calm as I gave my address and explained I needed to report theft and destruction of human cremated remains by my girlfriend's minor daughter. Christina's face drained of color when she heard those words leave my mouth.